So you divorced someone like me, an elite, and then remarried an unemployed man? My ex-husband Brian's voice echoed through the fancy restaurant. Sitting next to him was the woman he had an affair with. She looked at us, covering her mouth as if trying to hide her laughter. Well, I guess someone like you, a divorced nurse, can only marry an unemployed man. Is this your husband? He's so plain-looking. Perfect for you, Brian said. My current husband stepped forward to protect me. Please stop. I won't let you make fun of Mary anymore. Oh, here comes the unemployed husband, Brian mocked. Do you even know who I am? I know exactly who you are, my husband replied. His words made Brian freeze. My name is Mary, I'm 27 years old, and I've been married for 2 years. I've been working as a nurse, which has always been my dream. My life is busy but fulfilling, I explained. Hey Mary, look at this, Brian, my husband, called to me in the morning, holding a bundle of papers with a happy expression on his face. What's going on? I asked. Wow, that's amazing, I said as I saw the company newsletter from the advertising agency where Brian worked. The headline read, Sales Department's Rising Star. There was a photo of Brian with a proud smile and an interview. I'm in trouble, they featured me again, Brian said, unable to hide his happiness. Brian was an elite. He had graduated from a well-known university and worked at a major advertising agency. That's amazing, Brian, I'm so happy for you, I said. Brian smiled. Well, as a nurse, you probably can't imagine this glamorous world. As I struggled to find the right words, Brian tightened his tie and said, I'll be late tonight because of a business dinner. I don't need dinner, see you, I replied. Okay, take care, Brian said before leaving. We were introduced through a mutual friend and eventually got married, but over time, Brian started belittling my nursing job. At first, he helped around the house and was kind, but recently, I've been doing all the chores. When I asked him to help with housework once, he replied, I'm a salesman, you're just a nurse, even you should know who has the harder job. When we were dating, Brian was kind, and everyone admired us as a couple. It would be a lie to say I didn't feel secure being with an elite. I grew up in a single-parent family, and my mother had already passed away, so I longed for my own family. I felt I needed to have a serious talk with Brian. With that thought in mind, I went to work that day. Good morning, did you sleep well? Let me take your temperature, I greeted Mr. Green, a patient who had been hospitalized after a car accident. Good morning, thanks to you, I slept well, he replied. Mr. Green was a bit older than me, but he loved playing video games and often played them while in bed. He always thanked me for helping him and spoke politely, which made me happy. It's rewarding when patients appreciate your work. I worked hard all day, from morning until evening. On my way home, I realized that Brian's birthday was coming up soon. Since he said he would be late tonight, I thought it would be a good idea to pick out his gift before going home. I also decided to have dinner alone, so I took a train in the opposite direction, chose his present, had dinner, and was about to head home. When I saw a man in a suit I recognized, I realized it was Brian. However, he was with a slender woman with long brown hair, who was snuggling up next to him. Something didn't feel right. Didn't he say he had a work dinner tonight? My heart raced with anxiety as I followed them from a distance. They walked hand in hand, then entered a hotel together. It felt like everything went dark in front of me. I sat down on the side of the road. It couldn't be true. Brian was cheating on me. All the times he dressed up, came home late, and kept fiddling with his phone. I thought it was for work, but it wasn't. Brian had betrayed me. Somehow, I made it home. I sat alone in the dark living room, lost in my thoughts. When Brian came home, he didn't even turn on the lights. He did it when he saw me sitting there. Hey, Mary, what's the matter? He asked. I didn't turn on the lights either. Sit down, I said, feeling numb. Brian sighed. I'm tired, I want to go to bed. Just sit down, I repeated, glaring at him. Reluctantly, Brian sat. I asked him, Brian, you're cheating on me, aren't you? I saw you today. He seemed surprised at first, but then sighed and said, Is that all? Yeah, I have another girlfriend. She's a receptionist at work, popular for being cute. Can't help it, I'm popular. I was shocked by his honesty. What are you saying? He looked at me coldly and said, You should be grateful I've stayed with someone like you. You don't have much going for you. Your face isn't special. You're just a nurse, and you have no parents. Why should I stay with someone like you? I was speechless. He continued, It doesn't matter now. I kept you around as a housekeeper. But you're no longer needed. Pack your things and leave. He went to the bedroom, leaving me in shock. I couldn't sleep that night, devastated by his words, but I still had to go to work. I left the house before him and tried to do my best at work, even though I felt like I was struggling. Mr. Green, one of my patients, noticed something was wrong. Did something happen? You look pale, he said, staring at my face while holding a game console. I'm fine, really. I tried to laugh it off, not wanting to worry Mr. Green. It's disgraceful for a nurse to be upset by a patient. Mr. Green shook his head and said, don't ever call yourself a disgraceful nurse, even as a joke. I think I can be discharged today, thanks to your care. I can't ask what happened, but you'll be okay. You deserve happiness. His words, you deserve happiness, gave me the encouragement I needed. Holding back my tears, I bowed to Mr. Green in gratitude. That day, I packed my things, left the completed divorce papers, and moved out of the house. The next day, Brian called. I filed the divorce papers. Understood? Now you're just a divorcee with no parents and an ugly nurse. Good luck being happy. Goodbye. I couldn't stand hearing his mocking voice any longer, so I hung up, and with that, our divorce was finalized. For about a year after that, I threw myself into my work even more. I requested a transfer to a busier department, leaving me no time to feel lonely. Maybe it was for the best. One day, I was out shopping and ran into a familiar face at the park on my way home. Ah, Mr. Green, I said. Oh, it's been a while. Thanks to you, my health has improved a lot, Mr. Green said, sitting on a park bench and playing a game. I smiled at him. We chatted for a while, and I told him about finding out about my husband's affair and how his encouragement had helped me through the divorce. Mr. Green seemed surprised. That must have been tough. You did well to get through it. Thank you, I said. I've been holding on to your words, you'll be okay, like a charm. On my way home that day, Mr. Green invited me to dinner. We exchanged contact information, and even though we went home that night, we continued to go on several dates afterward. Eventually, I agreed to start a relationship with Mr. Green, now Sam. Sam and I were able to go on dates, even during the weekdays. In other words, he didn't seem to have a job. Even so, he always treated me to meals. At first, I found Sam's lifestyle a bit mysterious, but what I liked most was his personality. He was always relaxed, calm, and polite to everyone, treating me with great care. His hobby was gaming, and although I had never played before, I started joining him when we played together. Sam was clearly being easy on me, but I appreciated his kindness. A year after we started dating, Sam proposed. I'm not beautiful, and I don't have any parents. Are you sure this is okay? I asked him. Sam seemed a bit troubled and said, Mary, you're still hurt from your previous marriage, aren't you? But you're a wonderful woman. Let's become a family and live happily together. His words made me so happy. I felt ready to remarry, and this time I was sure it would be okay. Being with Sam made me much happier than I had ever been with Brian. A year passed, and Sam and I got married. Our relationship was still strong. For our wedding anniversary, Sam suggested we go to a special French restaurant. It's a special day, he said with a smile. The restaurant was high-end, even a place I had heard of before. I asked, is it really okay to go to such an expensive place? Of course it is, Sam said. It's a special day. We usually ate at home or went out for Japanese food, which we both loved, so this was a nice change. We dressed up and went to the restaurant, enjoying the delicious food and celebrating our anniversary. It was a blissful evening. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. Mary, hey, is that you? I looked up and saw Brian, the last person I ever wanted to see again. Next to him was the woman he had cheated on me with, her arm linked to his. What do you want? I asked coldly. Brian rudely stared at Sam and me. It was clear Sam instantly understood the situation. If you have nothing to do with me anymore, then please leave, I said, but Brian didn't move. Instead, he said something outrageous. How can someone like you afford to be in such a high-end restaurant? Sam responded calmly, today is our wedding anniversary. We can dine wherever we want. Huh, wedding anniversary? Brian mocked. So, the poor couple splurged and came to a place like this? How touching. Brian smirked, and the woman next to him, who had been his affair partner, covered her mouth and looked at us with amusement. After all that had happened, Brian looked at me and said, "After divorcing me, you married a jobless man, huh?" Completely ignoring Sam, I was stunned. "Huh, what's that? Where did you hear that?" "I ran into one of your colleagues and heard it," Brian said with a smirk. "They said you're going on dates even on weekday afternoons, and they've never seen your partner wearing a suit. They also said he's a gamer. Is this your jobless husband? He's a fittingly dull man for you." Brian kept mocking me, and I was too shocked to respond. "Well, a divorced nurse like you can only marry a jobless man, huh? You must be supporting this old man. Good for you." "Hey, stop it," I said, but Brian wasn't done. "You know, a high-end restaurant like this doesn't suit a poor couple like you. You must have saved up all your pennies just to come here. But read the room. You're lowering the tone." Brian's cruel words echoed through the restaurant, and before long, we became the center of attention. He had always belittled me when we were married, and now he was mocking my husband, Sam. I couldn't take it anymore. I won't forgive him, I thought, reaching my breaking point. I tried to stand up, but Sam stepped in front of me to shield me. "Please stop. I won't allow you to make fun of Mary any further," Sam said firmly. Brian, trying to hold back laughter, mocked us. "Oh, the jobless husband has appeared. Even jobless, you'll defend your ugly wife, huh?" "Watch your mouth," Sam replied. "You two should be the ones to leave. Just go." Brian glared at Sam and said, "Don't you dare stand up to an elite like me when you're just a jobless old man. I don't care if you're an elite or whatever. Just leave," Sam said, unyielding. Brian's face twisted with irritation as he said, "Hey, don't you know who I am? I'm the #1 salesman at S Advertising, and I graduated from W University. S Advertising makes TV commercials for K Foods and M Games. I'm on a completely different level from a jobless nobody like you. You have no right to speak to me." Sam paused for a moment and then spoke in a low voice. "I know who you are very well. Now, who do you think I am?" Brian was momentarily confused. "Huh? There's no way. I know exactly who you are," Sam said calmly. The woman next to Brian, who had been quiet until now, gasped, wait a minute, isn't this guy Sam Green?" "Who's Sam Green?" Brian asked, clearly confused. The woman quickly explained, "He's the founder of M Games. He graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and became a top figure in the gaming industry in just 10 years. He's a genius engineer and entrepreneur." "What?" Brian's face turned from red to blue as he processed this. Sam spoke again, straight-faced, "Yes, I am Sam Green, the founder of M Games. I'm currently the chairman, having stepped back from day-to-day management." I realized that Sam was the founder of the super-famous game company, M Games. Suddenly, everything made sense: his free time on weekdays, his constant gaming. "Wait, M Games is one of our major clients," Brian said, now pale and trembling. "You're the one who handles all our TV commercials and magazine ads. The advertising budget must be in the billions." "That's right," Sam said with a smile. At that moment, Brian and the woman next to him bowed their heads, clearly shaken. "We're so sorry, please forgive us. We had no idea you were the chairman of M Games." Sam replied coolly, "You're apologizing to the wrong person. You should be apologizing to Mary." Brian turned to me and bowed deeply. The woman looked at him in shock. "Miss Mary, I'm so sorry for what happened when we were married and for today. Please forgive me." I almost laughed at how pathetic Brian looked, but managed to hold it in. Sam asked, "Mary, what will you do?" I replied, in a calm but firm tone, "No, it's impossible to forgive him. Please don't ever show up in front of us again," I said firmly, and Sam grinned, giving me a small thumbs up. Then he bent down and whispered in Brian's ear, "Mary is a perfect wife for me. I'll make her happy from now on, so you should worry about your own future." Brian, pale and trembling, and the woman next to him quickly left, their tails between their legs. Sam and I continued our meal. I smiled at him, and he spoke gently, "Let's continue enjoying our meal." We had a peaceful evening. 6 months later, Sam instructed M Games to stop working with S Advertising. He reported Brian's horrible attitude, and as a result, Brian was fired. His elite career was probably over. To make things worse, the woman who had been about to remarry Brian gave up on him and left. Now, Brian was alone, living in a shabby apartment, but that was none of our concern. As for us, we had recently found out I was pregnant. Sam was so happy that he jumped up and down. He had also returned to game development after a long break and was now focusing on making games that could be played with children. Watching Sam, I hoped that this happiness would last forever.